Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, Part 3. I get positively angry with the impertinence of it and the everlastingness. Up and down and sideways they crawl. Those absurd, unblinking eyes are everywhere. There is one place where two breadths didn't match, and the eyes go all up and down the line, one little higher than the other. I never saw so much expression in an inanimate thing before, and we all know how much expression they have. I used to lie awake as a child and get more entertainment and terror out of blank walls and plain furniture than most children would find in a toy store. I remember what a kindly wink the knobs of our big old bureau used to have, and there was one chair that always seemed like a strong friend. I used to feel that if any other things looked too fierce, I could always hop on into that chair and I'd be safe. The furniture in this room is no worse than inharmonious, however, for we had to bring it all in from downstairs. I suppose when this used to be a playroom, they had to take the nursery things out, and no wonder. I never saw such ravages as the children have made here. The wallpaper, as I said before, is torn off in spots, and it sticketh closer than a brother. They must have had perseverance as well as hatred. Then the floor is scratched and gouged and splintered. The plaster itself is dug out here and there, and this great heavy bed, which is all we found in the room, looks as though it's been through the wars. But I don't mind a bit. Only the paper. There comes John's sister. Such a dear girl as she is, and so careful of me. I must not let her find me writing. She is a perfect and enthusiastic housekeeper, and hopes for no better profession. I verily believe she thinks it's the writing which has made me sick. But I can write when she's out, and I see her a long way off from these windows. There is one that commands the road, a lovely shaded winding road, and one just looks off over the country. A lovely country too, full of great elms and velvet meadows. This wallpaper has a kind of sub-pattern in a different shade, a particularly irritating one, for you can only see it in certain lights and not clearly then. But in the places where it isn't faded and where the sun is just so, I can see a strange, provoking, formless sort of figure, and that seems to skulk behind that silly and conspicuous front design. There's a sister on the stairs. Well, the 4th of July is over. The people are all gone, and I am tired out. John thought it might do me good to see a little company, so we just had Mother and Nellie and the children down for a week. Of course I didn't do a thing. Jenny sees to everything now, but it tired me all the same. John says if I don't pick up faster, he shall send me to Weir Mitchell in the fall. But I don't want to go there at all. I had a friend who was in his hands once, and she says it is just like John and my brother, only more so. Besides, it's such an undertaking to go so far. I don't feel as if it's worth the while to turn my hand over for anything. I'm getting dreadfully fretful and querulous. I cry at nothing, and cry most of the time. Of course I don't when John's here, or anybody else, but when I am alone. I am alone a good deal just now. John is kept in town very often by serious cases, and Jenny is good and lets me alone when I want her to. So I walk a little in the garden, or down that lovely lane on the porch under the roses, and lie up here a good deal. I'm really getting fond of the room in spite of the wallpaper. Perhaps because of the wallpaper, it dwells on my mind so. I lie here on this great immovable bed, it is nailed down, I believe, and follow that pattern by the hour. It is as good as gymnastics, I assure you. I start, we'll say, at the bottom, down in the corner over there where it's not been touched, and I determine for the 1000th time I will follow that pointless pattern to some sort of conclusion. I know a little of the principle of design, and I know this thing was not arranged on any laws of radiation, alternation or repetition or symmetry or anything else I've ever heard of. It is repeated, of course, by the breadths, but not otherwise. Looked at in one way, each breadth stands alone. The bloated curves and flourishes, like a debased Romanesque with delirium tremors, go waddling up and down in isolated columns of fatuity. But on the other hand, they connect diagonally, and the sprawling outlines run off in great slanting waves of optic horror, like a lot of wallowing seaweeds in full chase. The whole thing goes horizontally too, at least it seems so. I exhaust myself in trying to distinguish the order of its going in that direction. They have used a horizontal breadth for a frieze, and that adds wonderfully to the confusion. There is one end of the room where it is almost intact, and there, when the crosslights fade and the low sun shines directly upon it, I can almost fancy radiation after all. An interminable grotesque seems to form around the common centre and rush off in headlong plunges of equal distraction. It makes me tired to follow it. I will take a nap, I guess.